JUDIO YISROEL David from the Turei Karta, Jews United Against Zionism. We came with a delegation of rabbis here to this global conference for Palestine, for Free Palestine, and this is basically a great opportunity to be at such a phenomenal gathering.
What is the main purpose of your visit, and also what is the main reason that you have accepted the invitation to join the event?
Well, we feel that it is a godly obligation. It is required of us to come when there is a gathering for Palestine to correct this wrong view that there is a religious conflict between Muslims and Jews, or that the Palestinians hate the Jews, and that is why they want the end of the occupation. But in truth, that is all wrong. As a Jewish people, because we are Jewish, we are out here to show our solidarity and support for the Palestinians, to state clearly that the occupation of Palestine, even 1 inch of occupation of Palestine, is against the Jewish teaching, against the Torah. Judaism is subservience to God, religion. Zionism and its state of Israel, the Zionist state of Israel, is a transformation from religion to nationalism, and forbidden, and it is a rebellion against the Torah. It's forbidden by the Torah, forbidden in the teachings clearly that we have been given as a Jewish people from God. We're not allowed to steal, we're not allowed to kill, and we're even forbidden to have a state of Israel if it would not be in the land of others, because since 2,000 years ago, the destruction of the temple, Jews are not allowed to have their own sovereignty, and this was respected for 2,000 years. Zionism is a relatively new movement. They've hijacked, they've stolen the Star of David, the name Israel, and they're abusing it and misusing it and intimidating others. If somebody stands up in opposition, they're called anti-Semitic, and the Jews who stand up are called self-hating Jews. There is nothing more further from the truth. We are representatives, this delegation that are here from, we have a rabbi from 8th generation Palestinian. My community, where I come from, where my parents come from, is the European Jewry. We live in the United States in New York. The world Jewry states clearly that because we are Jews, because we are practicing the religion, we stand in solidarity with the Palestinians, and we say that we do not accept the existence of the State of Israel. This has to be voiced here, where they're starting a global movement for the return of the Palestinians, that the world should hear, and they should not dismiss this conference, and this we hope will be a catalyst for a free Palestine, that they should understand that they were duped, they were fooled by the Zionists, and that it's not true what they're saying they represent Judaism. It's representing a nationalist, selfish, flawed movement that was opposed by the Jewish leadership, by the rabbis in Palestine and the world. In fact, I carry documents with me. This is called Traditional Torah Opposition to Zionism. In 1947, a year prior to the ratification of the State of Israel by the United Nations, the chief rabbi of Palestine went with a delegation of rabbis to the United Nations leadership, and I'm quoting him. He said, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine." And this is, it's in the United Nations records. We put out a book called The Struggle, Pictorial History of the Struggle of Orthodox Jewry Against Zionism, and you can even see in there the pictures where Rabbi Dushinsky is meeting with the leaders of the United Nations. So this is clear. Invariably, the more the religious Jews community around the world, from Jerusalem, Al-Quds, to Australia, to New York, London, and even in the pockets in the Jewish communities that are very religious in South America, in Latin America. In Argentina, there's a community that the chief rabbi of Palestine helped create. They're all very strongly anti-Zionist. They're afraid to speak up, many of them, because of the intimidation and the attacks of the Zionists. In Palestine, you can see none of our rabbis are militants. We don't carry arms. And you can see they're standing up, speaking against the occupation, and they're brutally beaten. And you can look at our site, nkusa.org. you will find books and books of this, how they're brutally being beaten every day since the existence of the state and even before, because they're speaking up against the occupation. Therefore, many Jews, as are other people, afraid to speak up. They're afraid because of the attacks, the vicious attacks. Our lives have been threatened, and in Palestine, as we showed you that picture, although we have tens of thousands demonstrating, as you see here, this is, let's say, for instance, by the White House, tens of thousands of Jews demonstrating. I'm sure you never saw these pictures. The world doesn't know. This was when Netanyahu came to visit President Obama. Tens of thousands went out to demonstrate. We do this in New York, around the world. And all you'll see is that in Palestine, they stand there with guns, and we're never militant again. This is in New York in front of the Israeli embassy, tens of thousands demonstrating. What you do see is that in Israel, they're brutally beaten. This is Israeli police, Israeli army, and they're assassinated because they're demonstrating. And in the other parts of the world, we are also attacked. Jews are afraid in the small communities around the world to speak up. But there are Jews right here in Venezuela. There are Jews in every South American country where there's religious communities who oppose the occupation because we are Jews. We want the world to know that, to step back and help, with God's help, bring a removal, God help, speedily and peacefully, of the impediment to peace called the Zionist State of Israel and a free Palestine.
Finally, what advice can you give us for the people who want to show their solidarity with the Palestinian people, with the Palestinian cause here in Latin America? What kind of advice can you give us all who wants to support and defeat this big lie?
Well, it's only my humble opinion, but we first want them to know that they shouldn't fall into the Zionist trap by referring to Jews against the Muslims or a Jewish state. It's not a Jewish state, it's a Zionist state of Israel. And to constantly let the world know that there is Jews around the world, the very religious, and in fact, all around the world, the more the religious, the more anti-Zionist. So this concept of opposing and trying to stop the occupation and opposing Zionism has nothing to do with being against Jews. On the contrary, Zionism creates anti-Semitism, it creates hate of Jews because of animosity, because of what's happening, the political standpoint. If there wouldn't be for this occupation, there would be much more peace. Jews lived in every Muslim land prior to the Zionism. This should be happening today. Because of this misunderstanding, there's a mistrust because of Jews are being equated with Zionism. So people here should be standing up and saying, no, we want peace for Jews. We want to stop the hate. And the way to do that is to remove this foreign object, this foreign movement called Zionism, and then Jews can live, as history attests, Jews can live together with Muslims as we've had in Palestine. In fact, as Jews, we are required to show our gratitude to the Muslim countries and to the Palestinian people for giving us a home through many trials and tribulations, by the Inquisition, by the Crusade, and even by World War II. So this is the way it should be approached, I think, with God's help. And if the world would be forced to look at it like that, they'll realize they've been duped, they've been fooled, and they'll realize, just like in South Africa, when South Africa existed, there was the apartheid. People said that you couldn't bring an end because there would be this terrible war between the blacks and whites. But then they brought an end to it. And today everybody understands that it is totally flawed, the apartheid, and everybody understands that we can live together in peace.
Okay, thank you very much, and you are really welcome.
Thank you. God bless. Gracias. Thank you.